Hey there, it's Kat and this is Brews and Reviews. So today we're going to be talking about my favourite series that I read in 2020. So if you're interested in singular books that I read that I really enjoyed in 2020, there is a separate video for that. This is purely of series that I completed in 2020 that I mostly read in 2020 and I absolutely adored in 2020. So we're going to start this video off with a series that I have been reading throughout the year. I've been buddy reading it with Kayla from Crack Into a Good Book, and you've probably heard me talk about it if you have been on this channel for a while. And that is the Thecaledon Saga by J.P. Harker. This is the first book, it is Wildcat, and I absolutely just fell in love with this series. So this book is set in a historical fantasy type world that is a little bit like the Welsh versus the Romans, and there are other historical things that come into it later, and that's sort of like the main setting. But the first book follows Rhea, who is a young woman who wants to be a warrior. Her dream is to be a warrior, and then she's also thinking about becoming a mother and what that would do, and whether she should be a mother instead of being a warrior. And then the book happens. And I'm not going to tell you what happens, but there are some twists in this. I think throughout this series there were so many twists that hit me so hard, and you just don't expect it. I mean, I know I should have become accustomed to this, like, on the third book, but no. You turn the page and you'd be like, what? What? And it was great. I found that really fantastic. I also found the battles that are in this series to be really interesting. And that is where these books really shine, because they're just so well written. All I can say is that I really, really enjoyed this series. I'm so glad that James sent me this one and all of the other ones, because I've just had such a fun time reading it and I can't rave about them enough. And I won't shut up about them, so you're probably just going to have to get used to me talking about them. The next series I'm going to talk about is one that I have only recently caught up with, in terms of the ones that have been published, and that is Heartstopper by Alice Oseman, because it's just so cute. It's so cute. This is a series that I can see myself rereading when I want just cuteness in my life. Just a whole lot of cuteness. So this book is about Nick and Charlie, who are two boys who go to the same school and they end up in the same form. Charlie is gay and he starts falling for Nick, who he thinks is straight, and then maybe might not be straight, and it's just cute. It's just very, very cute. And I don't want to say more about it, because if you just want a cute gay romance that does delve into deeper issues as it goes on, Heartstopper's the one for you. Next up, I'm going to talk about another series that me and Kayla from Crack Into a Good Book read, and that is The Tarot Sequence by K.D. Edwards. This is actually the second book, The Hanged Man. The first book is The Last Son, and the reason that I don't currently have it with me is because I've just lent it to a friend who read the first book in one day, because, oh my god, it's so good. I'm not joking when I say that this is one of my favourite series of just all time. The characters, the banter, there's so many good things about it. The magic system is based on tarot, as the tarot sequence name would suggest, and the sort of ruling magic users are called the Arcana. You follow Rune St. John, who is the only surviving member of the Sun House. And there's a lot of things that happen. I don't want to go into too much detail. There is a lot of LGBT rep, there's a lot of found family, there is so much banter and cuteness, and there are cool fight scenes and monsters, and this guy in the second book, creepy villain. There is like a cool ghost ship thing that happens that you just really, please pick these up. They are so fantastic and I will not stop raving about them either. Then we have the Penryn and the End of Days series by Susan E. This series is one that I wasn't expecting to love as much as I did. I kind of thought that it would be a little bit post-apocalypse a la Hunger Games era, because I think that was around the time that it came out. But I ended up really falling for it. So the premise of this series is that angels have come to Earth and started a war, and this is kind of post-apocalypse, and the main character Penryn loses her sister to one of the angels. They take her sister away, and she starts on a quest to find them. And she sort of ends up with this angel guy, and they work together to sort of do it. But there were like horror elements in there, where there were like children that had been experimented on, and like blood-sucking, like gross things. And there's a scene in the second book that I just very vividly remember that's set in Alcatraz, and there's like chunks of people, and I was like, oh, that's gross, but I kind of love it. And it was sort of a different take on a YA post-apocalyptic book for me. There are elements of it that I found really predictable, but I really liked how it ended and how it went on throughout the book, and that there were horror elements. So yeah, it ended up in my favourite series that I've read this year. Next up we have a series that I've probably gone on about too much, and that is the East and West series by Jonathan Hickman. This is another post-apocalyptic story. I know I've probably read a few of those this year. Unintentionally, I wasn't like actively seeking them out, they were just books on my shelves that I happened to have read. But this one's kind of like an alternate history, sci-fi fantasy with the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse, and the first one honestly got me hooked because it was like about a romance with death. So obviously I was doomed because I love that. That's like hooked me instantly, but there were so many like political things going on in here, and like the end of the world is coming. It's mad. Like there's a whole lot of things that go on, but I really enjoyed it. It's a lot of BIPOC representation and some LGBTQ representation as well. It's really good. You should read it. It's mental, but you should definitely read it because it's great. And the last series that's going on this list is The Foxhole Court by Nora Sakovic. I love found family sports, apparently. College sports, found family angst, which is the core of this book. Because it's about Neil Justin, who is running away from secrets from his past, and he ends up playing this made-up game called Exy at college because they've recruited him. And there's like bad stuff that happens, obviously. This is a lot of like drug use, violence, and some not nice things, especially in the sequel. So it's dark, but I fell in love with it and I couldn't stop reading it once I'd started, and I just really liked the characters and how it ended. I felt like it had the perfect ending for this story. So yeah, had a really good time with this one, even though I just made it sound like it was really horrible. But like, honestly, my babies, I love them. They're such cute characters. Like, they're perfect. Oh. Anyway, those are the series that I read in 2020 and absolutely adored, and that's why they're on this list. So what series did you read in 2020 that you absolutely loved? If you like this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!